Do you have any questions before we get started? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, not now.
No? All right, yes, sir.
Yeah, we was talking Sunday, and something really kind of triggered in me when you said something about we're probably Indians. Mm-hmm. So I went home and I went and I studied, and I come to the conclusion that we are just about we're all mostly Indians. I did study. I did a man who I can't think his name, doctor. There was only the biggest figure I found was that there was only 388,000 slaves that they had recorded came to America. I read the article and it's talking about the Californians.
Now let me just quickly stop you there. That is true. Recorded, right? Now the reason why I'm mentioning that is because they started what was also called smuggling, slave smuggling. And that smuggling became very, very lucrative. Mm-hmm. So on top of the ones that were officially brought, and there are official records, there are those that were brought in, and they were unofficial. Why do you think? And this is true history. I made a film about it, and it's true, by the way, where what happened was slaves came in, and because they got trapped in the storm took them off to like Mexico, at that area. The ship ended up crashing, and rather than get caught, they ended up letting the ship sink with all the chained slaves, because it took them so far, of course. So that became a big deal. So that's why, even though we say that X amount of slaves were brought in officially, unofficially, there's a whole lot more that came in. All right?
Right. But I read a lot of sources, and so I come to the believing that you're right. I think that we are Indians. We were already here.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The most people Gad, that's what we are. Instead of saying Judah, we probably.
We will be doing some teaching on that down the road to make that clear. So we're going to open that. All right. Yes, please.
I'm sorry. So you're agreeing that we're of God?
No. Definitely not in that regard. But the other day he made a statement, and I made an assertion in terms of to the point that many of those who were called Indians and many who called themselves Americans were originally the real aborigines of America. The real aborigines. In other words, there's a lot more northern kingdom here than what meets the eye. And people just don't know it.
That's right.
You see, whilst we're looking for northern kingdom, simply from those who are coming from Guatemala, Mexico, El Salvador, and all of those places, the truth is, some of them are right here.
I agree with that.
Among, there's a term, acanocious blacks. And those who are original blacks of this country. They're the Indians. They're the real Indians. Because see, we have this, remember the white man has had bamboozled us into believing that Indians are very fair-skinned, bright skin. That's not true. The original Aborigines were black, even blacker than me. The Aboriginals were the real deal. Yes, please.
I was just wanted to ask two things. Well, not necessarily that, but both my grandmother, both of her parents were Indian.
Yeah.
She's like our family.
Yeah.
And, had I, like, you know, once I started realizing, like,
That's right.
I was like, you know, it's true. You know, when they were black, my great grandmother, she was like the wax color and the other color, but other than that, we're black.
Because most of our people who are fairer in complexion, it is because of the interruption, or some people would say the corruption of European bloodline. Because that's how our people got brighter in color. But remember, that's going to change. The Bible teaches that's going to change. Why is it going to change? Because the real us will look like our Maker. See, when he comes and everybody sees him, believe me, he's not coming. You see, because remember, the white man has taught us self-hate. And that's why, like in China, in Africa, the light skin coloring is a $1 billion market. Because Africans have hated themselves so much, you will find them putting creams on their faces to look like Michael Jackson. Even he is a byproduct of self-hate. Michael Jackson is not a man who loves black people. Because if he did, he would never have changed the color of his skin. But he had been programmed to thinking that the brighter you are, the better you are. And that really is a Peter Pan story of his life. The little boy who became a man and never really grew up. Because he was the real Peter Pan if the truth be known. But anyway, but when it comes to our people, we've been brainwashed in so many different ways, which leads me to our teaching. I want you, if you please, this is not a long teaching, but it's going to be very historically, I hope it's going to be very historically sound for you. I want you to turn to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4. And to all our guests who tune in each week, we have a very heavy thunderstorm that's trying to pass over. So every now and then you'll hear a very heavy crack. That's coming from outside, but the Most High God has us covered. So we're going to deal with the Gentiles, and we're going to be dealing with types and differences. So if we read Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 14, let's read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 14. And the Lord commanded me at the time to teach you statutes and judgments.
To do what?
Teach you statutes and judgments.
Statutes and judgments. Follow this. Read.
That ye might do them.
That you might what?
Do them.
Go on.
And the land whither ye go over to possess it.
To what?
To possess it.
To possess it. Okay, go on.
Take ye therefore good heed unto yourself.
So you must take heed. Go on.
Unto yourself.
Read.
For ye saw no manner of similitude of the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb.
Go on.
Out of the midst of the fire.
Go on.
Lest ye corrupt yourself.
Lest you what?
Corrupt yourself.
Go on.
And make you a graven image and similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female.
Read.
The likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air.
So, we'll stop there. We must never follow images of the likeness of creatures. Now, please don't get that confused. It doesn't mean that we can't have images. Because sometimes when you read this, you get to thinking that, well, I've got to throw away everything that looks like an image in my house. No. Because if that was so, then in the original temple, there wouldn't have been the giant angels that was in the temple. A giant angel in one corner, a giant angel in the other corner, and the scripture says that the wings of one angel stretched across, and the wings of the other one stretched across, and then met in the middle. This gigantic, in fact, let me see if I've got something that I could maybe give you an idea. I think I might do, yes. this is an, yes. This imagery here may help you. Can you see it? Why don't you come around to me, sir?
Send it to my mom.
Oh, send it to you?
Send it to me.
Very good. Very good, very good, very good. Yes, sir, I'll take the question.
You know, when Moses got the pattern from the father, when Moses got the pattern, Bezaleel followed it to the letter and put all the images and all of the things that he saw in the temple. So, I mean, I've heard people say that if you have pictures and stuff like that, that was somehow sacrilegious. But pretty much Bezaleel, everything he put together was like an image that the father gave him. So how could it be sacrilegious?
It was patterned, so that's why it's, some people it's misunderstood. Some people. So I don't really, okay, yeah, okay.
You know how you drop a picture? You know how to drop a picture? If you pull up your picture, I can do it.
Say again?
If you pull up the picture, I can do it.
So just bear with us. I'm just going to simply drop the image so that you can get back to me now. There we go. It's going to sense to go back, please. All right, I'm going to see if I can get an image of it so you can see it, and hopefully we can go from there. All right, this is not necessary. Very good. Very good. All right. So if we look at that, okay. So I see that now. In fact, let me drop this one.
Oh.
So I'm a quick study, you know. Teach me one time, I've got it. So, and what I want to do, let's see if I can put this one too. These are images that have something. And I'm going to give you this one here because it shows you an image, good image, of what Yahweh's throne will look like to some degree. It's not correct, but it will help to give you some understanding. So if I can put this image out now, let's see. There we go. All right. Now, hopefully you've got it. So I'll drop that to you, or I'll send that to you. But here's my point. My point is this. Images, for us, it is not sinful. I think sometimes we think that they are. They're not. Because we use images. When we had our sacrifices, we had brass designs of calves, right? So if we had brass designs of calves, we had brass designs of, and even in the Ark of the Covenant, it had angels on it and so on. And then we also had pomegranates and things like that on certain things that the priests wore. Those are images. So the emphasis is not on the image, it's on the worshiper. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 6. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 6 real quick.
Yes, sir.
And read verse 1.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and 1. Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments
Go on.
which the Lord your Yahweh commanded to teach you.
To teach who?
You,
Go on.
that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it.
Go to possess it. Right? So there's certain things that we don't do because as Israel, the only image that we kind of use to give people some kind of understanding is to show them images that Yahweh was indeed a black man. Come on? Now that's the image you can see up there now. As you can see, you see how big those angels are? See their wings? And see how small that priest is at the bottom there? That's what was in the first temple. That's an angel that had four faces. It had a human face to the front, a lion face to the right side, a calf's face to the one side, and so on and so on. So these were the faces that this angel had. That's why, can you imagine you running into that type of angel? That's what most people would do, you see? Absolutely. That's why when any angel appeared, they always said, fret not yourself, be not afraid, etc., etc. Because they're trying to give you confidence, right? So the first thing we must understand, Moses spoke clearly in parables. Khan, please make a note of that. Please make a note of that. And that's why all these other religions, they are idolatry. Roman Catholicism is idolatry. The Muslim religion is idolatry. Believe it or not, and I know this is going to hurt some of you out there, Christianity is idolatry. Because in the Christian church, they have crosses in the churches. They have baby Jesus and Mary and all this, and they're white in their churches. That's a complete misrepresentation. So those images are not so. That's not the real deal here, if you're with me so far. Go to Psalms 106. Psalms 106, if you please.
Yes, sir, with you.
Now, as I said, this is going to be more of a historical type teaching as opposed to, won't be doing a lot of scriptures, we will do a fair amount. But let's go to Psalms 106. Let's begin reading at verse 34, if you please.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 34.
Let's read.
They did not destroy the nations.
Read that again.
They did not destroy the nations.
Read.
Concerning whom the Lord commanded them.
Go on.
But were mingled among the heathen.
But did what?
Was mingled among the heathen.
Go on.
And learned their works.
And learned their works. That's why even today, we are mixed in because we have mingled ourselves among the other nations. Hold that quickly. Go to Leviticus chapter 25 and 33 real quick. Leviticus chapter 25 and 33. I think it's 33 or 35. What did I say?
25 and 33.
All right, let's read.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 25 and verse 33. It reads,
That's why you got to pay attention to your stuff, bro.
Leviticus 25 and 33.
Go on.
And if a man purchase of the Levites.
Slucky, read verse 35.
Verse 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor, and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger, or sojourner, that he may live with thee.
Go on.
Take thou no usury of him,
Go on.
or increase,
Go on.
but fear thy Yahweh.
So, even when we support our brothers, what do? What does the scripture tell us we must do? Do we charge him?
Nope.
He's staying at our home and we can charge him rent? No. Charge him for his food? No. What we do here, if our brother is completely without and not being able to support him, so we are meant to help, Khan. Is that what it's saying here? All right, go to Proverbs real quick. Proverbs chapter 12 and 26. Proverbs 12 and 26. Got that?
Yes, sir, we're there.
Let's read.
That's the book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 26.
Very good.
The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor.
He's what?
He is more excellent than his neighbor.
Right. Because we, as the righteous people, we are more excellent than our enemies. Khan, just finish that verse for me, please.
But the way of the wicked seduces them.
Because it's the way that the wicked are, it's their ways that seduce us. Their ways seduce. Now, your image that you saw before, we don't need this again, that was just up on the screen, was an image showing the calves, which I mentioned earlier on. That those images were used as part of our sacrifices. Khan?
Khan.
All right, so let me ask you a question. How many different nations has had us in slavery? Can anyone tell me? How many different nations have had us in slavery? How many?
When we go by captivity, at least 7. Really, everybody's had it in slavery in some fashion. But at least 7 nations. 7 nations.
All right, so you've got to kind of look a bit deeper. Is it really just 7?
Really, it's been everybody.
Anyone? How many has had us in slavery? Who has held us down? Say again? I didn't hear you. 1-6? Okay. At what point? I know you don't know. But I just really want to see. You may surprise me.
She's close. I would say 14. I have 14.
14? Okay.
14.
All right. So, brothers, how say you? All right, my brother? Adrian, what do you say? 18? Okay, you want to give a go at their Alphonse? Well, speak a bit louder for me. 15? All right. Okay. Let's go to 1 Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 69.
Did you want a picture?
Say again? Oh yeah. Hold that. Just one minute. Thank you. 1 Ezra chapter 8.
Khan, you there?
In verse 69, let's read.
This is First Ezra on page 11, chapter 8 and verse 69. It reads.
In fact, begin reading at verse 68.
Verse 68.
Go on.
Now, when these things were done, the rulers came unto me and said, the nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and Levites,
Read.
have not put away from them the strange people of the land,
Go on.
nor the pollution of the Gentiles, to wit, of the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, and the Moabites,
Go on.
Egyptians, and Edomites.
Go on.
For both they and their sons have married with their daughters.
They did what?
Married with their daughters.
And remember, it's a law that we should not marry the other nations, right? Now you're beginning to see how we ended up becoming mixed up. But let's read.
And the holy seed is
And the
mixed.
what?
And the holy seed.
That means that your seed is holy. Where in the scriptures does it say that the other nations have a holy seed? Nowhere. Only Israel has a holy seed. That's why it only belongs in its rightful place among its people, right?
Right.
Read.
And the holy seed is mixed with strange people of the land.
With what?
With strange people of the
With
land.
strange people of the land. Read.
And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity.
Of this iniquity. It's been going on for a long time. Now, who can tell me, when did it first start to happen? Who can tell me? I'm going to have to move a bit faster because this is turning in. When did it first happen? When did we start to mix ourselves with the other nations? Who can tell me? All right, Genesis chapter 6. Let's go. Genesis chapter 6. Let's read from the top.
Yes, sir. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 6, and verse 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth,
Go on.
and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Yahweh saw the daughters of men.
They did what?
Saw the daughters of men,
Go on.
that they were fair.
Go on.
And they took them wives of all which they chose.
Which they chose. So our people have been doing it from the beginning. It's not new. They were taking women from other nations. These were the daughters of men. All right. Let's go to Jeremiah. Let's show you a distinction between those that the Bible calls natural Gentiles. Natural Gentiles. Jeremiah chapter 46. Jeremiah chapter 46. And we're going to begin reading verse 1. Jeremiah 46.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 46, and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
It reads, the word of the Lord, which came to Jeremiah the prophet against the Gentiles,
Go on.
against Egypt, against the army of Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt,
Go on.
which was by the river Euphrates, and the Carchemish, which Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, smote in the 4th year of Joachim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah.
King of Judah. So these are what the scriptures call, these are the nations. They're natural Gentiles. This is what they are. Are you with me so far? All right. I don't, yeah, we have to. Leviticus chapter 18, real quick. Yes, no.
Are the Gentiles like a certain group of people?
Yes. Gentiles primarily are all nations outside of Israel. Every nation outside of Israel is a Gentile. All nations. The crooked Israeli who call themselves Jews, they call you Goa. Right? Because they're saying that you are Gentile. And it's amazing how they can call you that when you are the real deal. But that's further proof that they're trying to keep you locked in a certain mindset. You have to know who you are, Khan. All right. So let's take it a step further. Let's any other questions? Any other questions? I want to make sure that we get the questions in, but I'm going to give you a whole lot of details in a moment. All right. Let's read on.
Leviticus 18, which verse, sir?
Read from verse 24.
This is the book of Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 24. defile not yourselves in any of these things.
Go on.
For in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you.
Go on.
And the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity, therefore upon it. And the land itself vomited out her inhabitants.
Now, when it says the land is defiled, what does it actually mean? Can anyone tell me? I see your hand. Read it again, sir.
This is verse 25. And the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it. And the land itself vomited out her inhabitants.
Go on.
Yea, shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations.
Go on.
Neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled.
Go on.
That the land spew not you out also, when ye defiled it, as it was spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the soul that commit them shall be cut off from among their people.
Now, so it's giving you a double understanding there. Now it's speaking about the land, but what is it speaking about? I know it's speaking about the land, but it's using the land as a parable for the people. So what is it saying? You give me part. It's speaking about us, the people, Israel, doing what? Huh? They've defiled their bodies, right? It's funny how you started hiding, you went real quiet. Yeah, so they've defiled themselves by having sex with the other nations, right? Now, I know Christian background, they don't allow you to say sex in church, but it's needful sometimes, we have to say it. They had sex with the other nations, and by doing that, the Bible the scripture is speaking about them being like the land. So when we read verse 25 again, read.
Verse 25. And the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it. And the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants.
Right, so it's telling you that the land has caused, has become defiled because it has allowed other nations to come in unto it. All right? That's why the scripture always uses land when it speaks about women. Whenever another man goes with a woman, especially if she's a married woman and leaves her husband, the scripture says that land is now greatly polluted. That's what it says. Does that make sense? Do you have a question? Go ahead, quickly, sir.
And also, it brings to mind Ruth 4 and 5 because she was considered land. When Boaz was looking to connect with her, he was talking about purchasing a parcel of land.
Come on.
And he was using the kind of land.
Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4. I have to move 4 and 27, please. Let's go, if you please.
Sir, it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 27.
Go ahead.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations.
Shall do what?
Scatter you among the nations.
So it's going to scatter us among the nations. Go on.
And ye shall be left few in number
Few how?
Few in number.
Few in number. Go on.
Among the heathen, whether the Lord shall lead you.
So the word heathen is always, again, speaking about, when we use the word heathen throughout the scriptures, it means Gentiles or it means other nations. All the other people are heathens. We are not heathens. We can act like a heathen, but we are not heathens. Can't? Now, make a note of this date. One of our major captivities after we've had several captivities leading up to this point. Tell us all the captivities that we were under. Go ahead.
Oh, me? Oh, sorry.
Pay attention, sir.
We were under 7 captivities. The first one was the Egyptian captivity.